Yo, what up, everybody? We got a little bit of a different video for you today. We were going to be doing my top 10 games from the last few years, and we're going to call this video Top 10 Games 2026 edition. Now, the games I'm about to name aren't really in any particular order. These are just some of the top 10 games that I've played in the last 10 years that I think deserve a shout out or some credit. So with that being said, let's get into the video. So first game on the list is actually the Dead Space remake. I bought this game maybe like 3-4 months ago. I haven't beaten it yet, but I played the original Dead Space trilogy back on 360. I beat all 3 games, Dead Space 1, 2, and 3. So this one really hits home because Dead Space was really the only horror game that made me scared back in the day. Just the difficulty, depending on what difficulty you're playing on, as far as jump scares, the necromorphs, the enemies in the game, just the dark atmosphere of the ship that you're on, trying to get off the ship. So the remake it's pretty good, and this might sound a little shallow, but my favorite thing about the remake is just the graphics. The game has been updated for, Xbox Series X and PS5 graphics. So it's really cool to see the game upscaled, higher resolution, but the same story that we, got back in the early 2010s or, back then wherever the game came out. So this one definitely hits home for me because I played the original trilogy. I beat all 3 games. So the Dead Space remake is the first game on my list because it was the only game that made me scared. And I really appreciate the visual overhaul and keeping the original mechanics and story intact like they did. So first game on that list, Dead Space remake. Let's move on. Next we have Baldur's Gate 3. Normally I wouldn't buy a game like this. I'm not a fan of like open world games. I'm more of a linear game type guy. It's just a time thing for me why I don't like open world games. I tend to find myself not even checking locations that maybe might be a side quest in open world games. I just go straight to the next like main story plot quest in the game. And I've found that I played a lot of open world games where I didn't find a reason to do any side stuff. You know what I mean? I just go next to the point. But me and my friends, we loaded up Baldur's Gate 3, and immediately I had fun. I love the turn-based tactical combat in the game. You really have to strategize. You have to understand where to move your character because you only get a certain amount of stamina to move. And if you're playing co-op, you can have some really funny situations, which we did. My boy threw his boots at one of the enemies, and it freaking killed the enemy. It was freaking hilarious. I made a short of it. It's on my YouTube shorts. I haven't put too much time into the game. Like, I'm nowhere near beating the game. We're probably maybe like 4 or 5 hours in max, but this is the first like turn-based RPG that I really appreciate. The graphics are amazing. Again, we have PS5 graphics, Xbox Series X graphics. The game is just really fun. I enjoy that there are consequences in the game of your actions, and the fact that it can be played co-op is amazing. My only one gripe with the game is if I started a playthrough with a group of friends and I want to play with another group of friends, I have to start from the beginning, make a whole new character, and that's just annoying because my original friends that I started playing with no longer play the game, or we haven't played in a long time, and I would love to start over with another group of friends, but it's kind of making me anxious because we have to start from the beginning, and that's just not something I can get down with. So that's probably why I haven't booted up the game again with my new group of friends, not new group of friends, but a second group of friends. It's just the simple fact that I would have to start over, and I'm not willing to put in that time. So I have to see if my original friends want to pick the game back up and play. So we'll see what happens. But Baldur's Gate 3, amazing games. Love the graphics. I love the tactical turn-based combat. The story seems good. I was enjoying the story. So let's move on to the next game. Next game on my list is freaking Black Ops 6, and this is probably only for the reason this was the first Black Ops I bought since Black Ops 2. You know, back in when the Black Ops 2 dropped, 2010 or something. So from like 2010 all the way up to when Black Ops 6 dropped last year, I hadn't bought one single Call of Duty. And Black Ops 6, I enjoyed the multiplayer. I didn't touch campaign at all. I'm done with Call of Duty campaigns because I played campaigns for Call of Duty since Call of Duty 2, Black Ops 2, Modern Warfare 2, so I'm kind of done with Call of Duty campaign. I just like going in multiplayer and running around killing people. I enjoyed the Omni movement. Definitely a key thing. Some of the maps were bad for multiplayer, I'm not gonna lie, but there were a few maps that I did enjoy, but it just felt good to be back on a Call of Duty game after, you know, 14-15 years. So I really enjoyed the game. Played with my cousin and some other friends, and I just enjoyed that the game took place in like, what is it, like late 90s, 2001, something like that. So like there weren't a whole bunch of like tech things that you find in other Call of Duties, like wall running and jetpacks. I think it was in Black Ops 3. So it felt like a really grounded Call of Duty game, and I really enjoyed it. Shout out to Red Card, the map on the game, because that shit was trash. But let's move on. Next game in the list is Temtem. Temtem is a co-op Pokemon-like game. It's like an MMO Pokemon game, and I think this is what Nintendo should be doing with Pokemon, because the latest Pokemon, I don't know, XYZ, whatever it's called on the Switch, like the graphics were trash. The buildings weren't even 3D modeled. There was just like a texture slapped on all the buildings. And Nintendo, I just can't get with that. It just didn't look fun. There were like no NPCs to talk to. The game felt bare. I know you can go underground. There was nothing under there. They got this weird jump mechanic where you have to jump across buildings in that Pokemon game. So Temtem really felt like a good monster collecting game, and I really enjoyed it. You can play the game, you can beat the entire game co-op, and all the battles are 2v2. So like some of your Temtem's moves will actually help power up another Temtem's move when they're both on the field, depending if they have synergy to let you maybe do more damage or you use less points to do a move. And everything else about the game is really good. I enjoy the graphics. You know, it has like a really colorful, playful art style, very bright colors. I enjoy the different locations of the game. You start on a beach, and then you go into these high trees with like fire Pokemon and stuff like, or Temtem, I'm sorry. Creatures, really good game. I'm enjoying the story so far. I haven't beaten it. It's a pretty big game. I have not beaten it yet. But it's traditionally like, imagine like red or blue version if it was like 2D MMO type stuff. That's kind of the vibe you get, and I'm really having fun with it, and I look to get back into it. I was looking for a friend to play co-op with, but none of my friends want to spend the money. It's a pretty expensive game, sitting at like $40-50 right now. So Temtem is definitely on that list. Let's move on. Next game on the list is Marvel Rivals. Now, I was never really into hero shooters. I've never played Overwatch. Well, that's a lie. I've played one match of Overwatch when it first came out. My boy brought his Xbox One over, and I played one game of Tracer. And I've never touched Overwatch since then. I wasn't really a hero shooter fan. Like, I thought the characters moved way too fast. There was too much going on the screen. But when Marvel Rivals dropped, my friends got me to get on the game. And I had a lot of fun, you know, competitive game with Marvel characters, you know, shoot, some fight. There's also all those special like mission modes where you're fighting boss with friends. You're not fighting. You remember when the zombie mode dropped and things like that. There's plenty of stuff to unlock. The skins are really great. The maps are pretty good. I've only played on one map I didn't like, and that's in the current build of the game, the Egypt map or Pharaoh map, whatever it is. But I never thought I would get into hero shooters, but everyone loves Marvel, the Marvel IP. So I think they really hit the head on the nail with Marvel Rivals, and we'll probably be playing it some more on stream. We're taking a break right now for other games, but we'll probably come back to it. Now, the next game on the list is Marathon. Marathon is the extraction shooter from Bungie, and it's really causing a lot of controversy because PlayStation bought Bungie and they dumped so much money into making Marathon, but it didn't hit like they wanted to. But that doesn't mean the game is bad. I really enjoyed it because of its difficulty and how you have to grind to get your loot up so you can maybe go into harder maps or have better loot than your opponent so you can get, you know, easier kills. But I found once you get good at the game, it's really fun. I never played a game where there was so much at stake, because if you die, you lose everything you brought onto the map with. All of it's gone, you can't get it back. And you have to remember, in Marathon, everything you pick up in the game has a monetary value. So just dying, maybe you looted a blue or purple gun with some good attachments on it, and if you die, you're not taking it home. You know what I'm saying? I think the issue with the game is just its difficulty, and I hope Bungie can find a way to let new players enjoy the game without getting slaughtered by higher level players or people who've been grinding the game a little bit more, because I think it's a good game. I also heard people complain about the art style, the bright colored buildings, but I freaking love it because it just lets you identify things faster on the map when maybe a building is blue, or the oranges that they use. It just lets you identify things on the map. I want to talk about the shells that you can pick. Each shell has a different ability, and it's basically gonna let you play how you want to play. I use the assassin shell so I can turn invisible, I can throw some smokes, and I just love the abilities of the shells. And of course, it's a 3v3 game, so you can play with friends, or you can, you know, play solo if you want. You can do solo runs. The maps are pretty good too. There's 3 maps that we got: Perimeter, Dire Marsh, and Outpost, and then we had Cryo on the weekends. I never really had an issue with any of the maps layout or design. I freaking love the maps. Even Outpost, which is a little bit harder map, that's a little bit smaller. Maps are fantastic. The gunplay is godlike. We know Bungie is good for their gunplay, and the guns feel amazing in that game. It feels amazing when you're hitting your shots, when you're putting shots into your opponent. It feels good to outplay people. So I think Marathon really did a good job, and I hope they can get the numbers they're looking for. I've already got the plat trophy. You guys know I'm a plat trophy hunter. The only negative thing about Marathon that I didn't like was that there's a reset every 3 months. So it took me like 150 hours to get the plat trophy. I didn't have all my skill tree maxed out. I did have a lot of good loot, but I don't think having a reset every 3 months in this kind of game is a good thing, because when season 2 started and I loaded the game up, I immediately felt overwhelmed, because I'm like, sheesh, I have to do all that over again when it already took me 150 hours to get the plat trophy, and that's not even completing the skill tree. I saw people on Facebook, it took them 150 hours to fully upgrade their skill tree and things like that. And I think a reset works fine in games like Marvel Rivals, because when the reset happens, you're just going straight back into rank. And I'm sure high level players, in like 10 hours of gameplay, they can get back to the rank they were at. But in Marathon, you have to put in so much time. It's like playing the same Final Fantasy game every 3 months, like playing the same 3 Final Fantasy games every 3 months. And I just couldn't sit well with that after the reset. It was just too overwhelming, so I had to put the game down. I think in competitive games like Street Fighter or Tekken, a reset is fine because you hop right back into ranked. But in Marathon, to even get into ranked, you have to be a certain level, and you have to have a certain amount of loot on you. So you can't even jump straight back into ranked. You have to grind the, you know, story game. Kinda, I wouldn't even call it a story, but you have to grind the regular game to get your loot up before you can even get into rank. And on a 3-month reset, it just doesn't work. I was not willing to put in another 140 hours into Marathon every 3 months. I'm not doing that, and I explained why. But other than that, great game. I wish Bungie and Sony can pick it up. pick up the pace so they can get the player base they're looking for. Next game on the list is The First Descendant. Now, I've only had my PS5 for like 2 years now. I think I bought it in like the end of 2024. It's been about 2 years. And The First Descendant was the first game that I actually played on PS5. I got my PS5. I let my boy know. He was like, yo, let's get on The First Descendant. And this game blew me away. It was really amazing. It's kind of like Destiny, I guess. But what I liked about it is once you drop on a map, all the objectives are like literally 20-second run away from you. You don't have to get on a hover bike and drive across the map. Everything is pretty much right in front of you, and once you finish that area, the next area unlocks and you can drop onto the map, and the objectives are really, really close to you. So it's more like drop in, do the objectives, unlock the next map, and drop into the next map. I enjoyed the characters. There's a lot of female characters and Gooner skins, but I didn't really care about that stuff. I used the ice chick. I can't remember her name, but I enjoyed the guns. I enjoyed the characters. The story was pretty decent, and in my opinion, for what it is, the only thing I didn't like about the game is I didn't find that there was no replayability for me. Like after I got the plat trophy, I didn't find any reason to load back into the game, and I saw a lot of high level players that were just one-shotting bosses, and I was like, what's the point? Why would I keep grinding the game when I don't feel like I'm getting anything back? So after I got the plat trophy, I kind of never booted the game up, because what am I just getting stronger to kill the same boss but a stronger version of that same boss? So like there's no PvP, it's only PvE, so I didn't find any reason to keep playing the game after I got the plat trophy. But I think if the trophy list was more robust, I definitely would have kept playing the game to try and get the plat. But the game only had 17 trophies or so. But good game. I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed the abilities. I enjoyed the guns. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed some of the boss fights. Pretty good game, and it's free, so can't really complain. Next game on the list is the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now, my first Final Fantasy game was Final Fantasy X, and after playing that Final Fantasy X on PS2 back in the day, I've bought in every single Final Fantasy game on release, except what Final Fantasy are we on now? 16. I haven't bought in 16 yet, and that's because I got the 7 remake. But the Final Fantasy 7 remake has a very good place in my heart. I remember the entire game start to finish. I could load back into the game and clear everything out, the whole game again, as fast as possible. I enjoyed the story, and remember this, I didn't play Final Fantasy 7 on PS2 back in the day, so I have not. Of course I know who Cloud and Tifa were, but I know nothing about the story. I didn't know any of the lore. I didn't know Cloud's abilities, but I feel like the remake is just such a good game. The music is awesome. The combat is really good. The story is amazing. The map locations and everything is just really, really good. And I still think about some of the maps and things like that on Final Fantasy 7 remake. I'm like, I remember being over there. I like that, the song on that map, things like that. So really good game. I'm currently playing 7 Rebirth. We're probably like halfway through the game. I'm waiting for the 3rd installment next year. So catch the stream, we'll definitely be playing Rebirth. But Final Fantasy 7 Remake, such a good game. Graphics, combat, story, everything is excellent. The next game on the list is Street Fighter 6. Now, you guys know I play fighting games competitively, and I think Street Fighter 6 just hit the nail on the head with the release. We have decent characters. We had a story mode in this one. We have a battle hub where you can just go show off your avatar, buy gear for your avatar, fight other people. I just think the game is really good. It's really, really balanced. I wish the roster was a little better. We're coming up on season 4, and this season it's all new characters and Tifa. I just wish we had a better roster at this point. The game is feeling a little stale, honestly, just because hasn't been a big overhaul. You know, when Street Fighter 4 came out, we had vanilla, and then we got arcade edition, and then we got Street Fighter Ultra, Street Fighter 4. Same thing with Street Fighter 5. We got vanilla, then champion edition. So I'm just waiting for them to do Street Fighter 6 Ultra or champion edition or whatever they're gonna do. And the only reason I think the game feels stale, because in the previous games like Street Fighter 4, they would add a new mechanic. Like they added red focus to Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 5. Everybody got 2 V triggers. So they made this game so well, I don't see where they can add an extra mechanic. You see what I'm saying? Like we have drive rush, we have drive impact, we have parry, we have everybody has 3 supers that they can use. So they made the game so well, I don't see what mechanics they could add to the game. Now I was talking with friends and we said there should be a mechanic where it's automatically a get off me mechanic, because you do have what's it called, drive reversal, but it's easily blocked. Like if your opponent knows it's coming, like their move has to be out. I do a drive reversal and they block it every time and I get full punished. So we were saying there should be a mechanic where it's automatically get off me, and maybe use one of your super bars instead of your drive bar. So yeah, you can get off for free, but you lose if you can do your level 3, you would go back to your level 2. I think that would be amazing, because with the drive rush mechanics, sometimes your opponent just gets in for free because they just drive rushed at you, and it can be really annoying. It takes away footsies and all that sort of thing. So enjoy the game. The graphics are amazing. The maps are pretty good. You know, the maps are just skins at this point because all stages are the same length. But one of the best Street Fighter 6s so far. Now, this next game on my list is probably my favorite game that I've played in the last few years, and this is Split Fiction. I don't know the name of the studio, I can't remember, but I've played A Way Out, It Takes Two, and Split Fiction, which is all 3 of their games that they've released so far. I'm waiting on for what they do after Split Fiction. But Split Fiction blew my mind as to what a co-op game could be. The graphics are amazing, the mechanics are amazing. You get different powers on each stage, and whoever you're playing with, friend's power is different from your power, and you have to use them at the same time to get through the level. The maps are really good, mechanics are sound. It's a speedrunner's dream game, just how you can, run, slide, or dash in the air. The story is freaking amazing, so I would definitely say check the game out. I've already beaten it twice, and I'm looking for someone to beat it with my 3rd time. I never beat games twice. I beat it once, unless there's a plat. I beat it once and I'm done with it. It just lives rent free in my head for the rest of my life. But Split Fiction, I've already beat it twice. I'm trying to beat it the 3rd time because, like I said, it's a speedrunner's dream. You can just blast through the game. There are a few hard hard puzzles, but just one of the best platforming co-op games I played in the last time. And the last level of the game will blow your freaking mind. I don't even know how they programmed that. But Split Fiction, man, freaking love the game. Now I'm always looking for a co-op game to play with my friends, and they be like, I don't want to play no co-op. I'm like, bro, you didn't play Split Fiction, that's why. After you play that game, your life will change. But I just wanted to do a top 10 for you guys. That's the last game in the video. If you guys don't mind, hit the like and subscribe button so you can see what else is going on with my channel. But I hope you guys enjoyed the top 10. Comment below if there's any games on the list that you liked or you didn't like, and we'll see you in the next video. See you later, guys.